Her engine died in the middle of a crowded intersection, horns blaring all around. Just when panic threatened to swallow her, a stranger, a scruffy single dad with grease-stained hands, appeared, pushed her car to safety, and fixed it right there, with nothing but a wrench and quiet determination. She thought that was the end of it, until curiosity led her to follow him home. What she found inside his small apartment. It changed everything. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to hit subscribe for more videos like this. Let's begin. The moment Emily Parker saw the man step back from under her hood and wipe his hands on his faded jeans, she felt an ache in her chest. Not because of her stalled car, but because of him. He wasn't just fixing bolts. He was fighting for dignity with every motion. "You're good to go," the man said, closing the hood with a firm click. His voice was low, steady, with the kind of weariness that only came from carrying too much for too long. Emily reached for her wallet. "At least let me," but he shook his head before she could finish. "Don't worry about it. I've got a daughter waiting upstairs. Just glad you're safe." That word daughter caught her. His tired blue eyes softened when he said it. And then, with a small nod, he walked off toward a cracked brick apartment building tucked behind the grocery store. Emily sat frozen in her car, engine humming again, but her heart racing faster than it had when it stalled. Most men she knew wouldn't lift a finger without a price. He hadn't asked for her name, her number, nothing. Just disappeared into that broken-down building. She hesitated. Then something inside her whispered, "Follow him." Curiosity dragged her out of the driver's seat. Her heels clicked softly against the pavement as she trailed the stranger. She expected darkness, maybe even danger. But what she found when she peeked through the half-open door of his small apartment stunned her. Inside, the man knelt on the carpet, gently braiding the messy blonde hair of a little girl no older than 6. The child's pajamas were worn thin, but her laugh lit up the room brighter than any lamp. "Daddy, tighter this time. You always make it loose," the girl giggled. He smiled, an expression that looked foreign on his exhausted face, and adjusted the braid with careful fingers. "You're the boss, Lily. Ready for story time?" Emily's throat tightened. This wasn't just a man fixing a car. This was a father stitching together a childhood with nothing but love and sacrifice. The cracked walls, the second-hand furniture, the absence of luxury, none of it mattered. Because in that room, kindness lived. She almost walked away, almost, but then she heard Lily's small voice say something that froze her steps. "Daddy, why don't we ever have dinner like the other kids? Why do you always say you already ate when I know you didn't?" The man's silence was heavier than any answer. His eyes flicked toward the empty fridge in the corner, then back to his daughter with a forced smile. "Because I like it when you have the biggest plate." Emily's hand shot to her chest. Suddenly, she wasn't just a stranger peeking into someone else's life. She was a witness to a truth too raw to ignore. She had two choices: turn back to her comfortable life, or step forward into his. Emily didn't knock. She hovered at the threshold, guilt prickling at her for watching, until Lily spotted her in the hallway and waved like they'd known each other forever. "Daddy, it's the car lady," the little girl chirped. The man startled, then stood quickly, placing himself half a step in front of his daughter without making it obvious. Protective but gentle. "Hey," he said, not unkind. "Everything all right with the car?" "It's perfect," Emily replied, swallowing her nerves. I brought dinner." She held up a paper sack from the deli downstairs. He glanced at the bag, then at his daughter, and she saw the tension hit his jaw. "Pride, of course. I can't. It's for me." Emily lied with a small smile. "I'm terrible at eating alone. Could we share?" Lily didn't wait for permission. She scampered to the kitchen table, a second-hand piece with a squeaky leg and a bouquet of crayon marks, dragging two mismatched chairs together. Emily stepped inside, careful, like entering a church. "I'm Emily," she offered, extending a hand. "Emily Parker." He hesitated, then shook it. His palm was warm and scarred. Jack Reed, and that's Lily." Lily gave a two-handed wave. "Hi, Emily. I'm 6 3/4. Daddy says the quarters matter." "They do," Jack said. mock stern, and Lily's giggle bubbled up again. Sunlight in a small room. Emily unpacked the food. Chicken noodle soup. 2 grilled cheese sandwiches cut diagonally, a fruit cup, and a still warm apple pie on accident. Jack's eyes landed on the pie and flicked away like he refused to want anything too badly. "I'll get plates," he said. But when he opened the cupboard, there were only 2. He froze for a fraction of a second, then reached under the sink and pulled out a clean plastic container lid, setting it down with a sheepish shrug. "We make it work." "We do," Emily echoed softly. They ate. Lily swung her feet happily, talking a mile a minute about a science night at school and the volcano she was supposed to build by tomorrow. The word tomorrow landed like a rock. Jack's spoon paused above the bowl. Emily noticed a stack of envelopes near the microwave. Utility bills, a letter stamped in red, and something that looked like an overdue notice, folded and refolded, as if smaller might mean less heavy. "I can help with the volcano," Emily blurted before she could overthink it. "I'm practically a volcano engineer. I once made a Mount Vesuvius that erupted all over my landlord's carpet." She winced. "Long story." Lily brightened like a switch flipped. Jack set his spoon down slowly. "You don't have to—" "I know," Emily said, meeting his eyes so he'd see she meant it. "I want to." Pride wrestled with relief across his face. After a beat, he nodded. "Okay, thank you." They cleared the table together. Jack tried to gather everything himself, quick hands moving to make it look effortless. Emily gently intercepted, washing dishes at the small sink. Warm water hissed, the simplest act suddenly tender. On the fridge, held with a ladybug magnet, was a chore chart written in a child's careful block letters. "Kindness jar. Say thank you, leave extra for Daddy's plate. Help a friend, fix the squeaky chair ajar on the counter, held paper slips, each a small story. Gave Miss Alvarez her mail. Helped Daddy find the bolt that ran away. Save my last gummy bear for Daddy." Emily blinked hard. "What's the kindness jar?" she asked. Lily puffed up with pride. "We write down good things. Then on Fridays we read them and say, we're not poor in the things that matter." Jack busied himself, wiping an already clean counter. "You make your own currency when the world's short on yours," he said, trying for humor and landing on honest instead. He walked to a small bookshelf and pulled out a well-worn binder. Its cover read, ASC Study Guide. Tucked inside were neatly tabbed sections, dog-eared pages, and sticky notes full of torque specs and diagrams. An old photograph slipped out and fluttered to the floor. Jack, in a grey shop shirt, young and hopeful, standing next to a beat-up stock car with a number painted on its door. Grease on his cheek, fire in his eyes. "You were on a pit crew?" Emily asked, picking up the photo carefully. "For a local team," he said, scratching the back of his neck. "Nights and weekends. Before the shop shut down, before a lot of things." He didn't elaborate and she didn't push. The room held too much story already. A knock came, sharp and bureaucratic. Jack flinched, a tiny movement, but there. He opened the door to a man with a clipboard and a polite, exhausted smile. "Jack," the man said, eyes darting past him, counting chairs, counting shoes. "Rent? I'll need it by Monday." "I know, Mr. Collins, I'm working on it." "You're a good tenant," the landlord said, almost apologetic. My hands are tied." Jack nodded once. "I'll figure it out." The door clicked shut. Lily had gone very quiet. Emily stared at the kindness jar like it was the only stable thing in the room. "I'm not here to fix your life," she said softly. "But can you let me help with what I can?" "Fair trade. You teach me everything I should have learned about cars, and I'll handle volcano logistics like a professional arsonist." Jack huffed a surprised laugh, then looked at her seriously. "Emily, people sometimes see a guy like me and want a project. I can't be someone's paperwork for the soul." "I know," she said, and the words came easier because they were true. "I used to think help was a receipt too. That if someone gave me something, I owed them a version of myself that smiled all the time. Then someone paid my first month's rent after college, no questions asked. He just said, 'Do good with it.' I never forgot that." Jack studied her. The seconds felt like a held breath. Finally, he nodded. "All right, volcano, and I can teach you to change a tire without calling your insurance's roadside spa. Deal?" "Deal," she said, sealing it with a grin. For the next hour, they turned a cramped living room into a lab. Emily ran to her car and returned with baking soda, vinegar, dish soap, red food coloring from an old birthday candle kit in her glove compartment, don't ask, and cardboard. Jack found duct tape, a water bottle, and Lily's paint set. The three of them built a mountain out of a cereal box and newspaper, hands messy, laughter bigger than the walls. "Name it," Emily said, holding a paintbrush like a wand. "Mount Kindness," Lily declared solemnly. "Because it looks quiet, but it can change everything." Emily met Jack's gaze over the volcano. He smiled, small and stunned, like a man who'd been holding heavy things and had just set one down without realizing it. While the papier-mâché dried, Jack showed Emily how to check her oil properly, how to listen for the click that meant the gas cap sealed right, the way a serpentine belt should look when it's healthy. He was patient, never condescending. Teaching seemed to steady him. "Most people treat cars like mysterious beasts," he said, handing her a flashlight. "They're just honest machines. They tell you what's wrong if you listen to the right noises. What about people?" she asked before she could stop herself. He considered. "Same rule. Harder language?" It was close to 9 when Lily got sleepy. Emily helped Jack tuck her in. On the nightstand sat a photograph of a woman with warm eyes. Lily's mother, Emily guessed. No one explained the empty chair at their table, and no one needed to. Loss had its own gravity. You could feel it without naming it. Back in the living room, Jack gathered the trash from dinner and tied the bag, fussing to fill the silence. Emily didn't let it stretch. "I know a service manager at McKenna Auto on 8th, she said. "He owes me a favor for a campaign I ran that brought them a flood of customers last year. They're hiring weekend techs, good pay, decent hours. I could call him." "Only if you want." Jack stared at the tied trash bag like it contained a decision. "I've been sending out resumes for months," he said quietly. "They see the gaps and pass. Or they say they'll call. They don't." "This one would call," Emily said simply. "But I won't do it unless you tell me to." He folded his arms, the old armor rising. "I don't want charity." "It's not charity," she said. "It's a warm introduction to someone who actually cares about good work. After that, it's on you. You'll either impress him or you won't. But I've seen you fix a car in a storm of honking horns with a kid waiting upstairs and no one applauding. My bet's on you." He looked at her for a long beat, then looked at Lily's door. Something shifted. "Okay," he murmured. "Call him tomorrow. Please." "Done." Jack sat on the couch, exhaling like his ribs had been too tight for hours. Emily took the chair with the squeaky leg and pressed her heel into the right spot to keep it quiet. The apartment felt different now, not larger but truer, as if honesty had opened a window. "You followed a stranger home," he said, a hint of a smile warming his words. "Brave or reckless?" "Maybe both," she said. "But I followed the feeling that told me." "Your story didn't end at that intersection." He nodded. "Neither did yours." Emily glanced at the kindness jar, at the bills, at the volcano waiting to erupt. "Tomorrow," she said, like a promise to the room, to the man, to herself. "Let's give them a show." Jack reached for the binder on ASE certifications and set it on the table beside the volcano. 2 honest machines, 2 languages, 1 plan, and for the first time in a long time. The night inside that small apartment felt less like a hallway and more like a doorway to something neither of them had words for yet, but both could feel, steady as an engine, finally catching the right rhythm. Morning came with a thin stripe of sunlight cutting across the worn blinds. Emily woke on the squeaky chair, a blanket she didn't remember pulling over herself. Jack must have done it. The smell of cheap coffee drifted from the kitchen, mixing with the faint scent of glue from the papier-mâché volcano drying overnight. Lily's laugh rang out first thing, filling the apartment like bells. "Daddy, Emily snores!" Emily bolted upright, flushing. Jack glanced over from the counter, smirking. "She's not wrong," Emily groaned, running a hand through her tangled hair. "I'll deny everything." The light-heartedness faded when Jack opened the fridge. Inside, 2 eggs, half a carton of milk, a bottle of ketchup, and nothing else. He cracked a joke about gourmet omelettes, but Emily caught the flicker in his eyes. The man was running on fumes, and not just in the kitchen. "Jack," she said softly, "let me call my friend about that job today." He leaned on the counter, jaw set. "What if I get it and can't keep it? What if I can't?" "Then you tried," Emily cut in, her voice steady. "But if you don't try, Lily learns to stop trying too. Is that what you want her to carry?" The words hit. He didn't argue. Instead, he set 2 eggs in a pan, cutting them into 3 uneven portions. Emily took the smallest without hesitation. By noon, she had him sitting at her kitchen table, her apartment far brighter, bigger, a jarring contrast to his. Phone on speaker, she dialed her contact at McKenna Auto. "Ben, it's Emily Parker," she said, confidence anchoring her voice. "You owe me a favor, remember?" On the other end, a chuckle. "Depends." "How expensive?" "A chance," she replied. "His name's Jack Reed. He's solid. ASE prep, years of hands-on. He deserves a shot." There was a pause. "Then, tell him to come tomorrow, 8 a.m. If he impresses me, he's in." Emily muted the call, grinning. "Congratulations, Mr. Reed. You've got an interview." Jack's hands clenched around the edge of the table, knuckles white. His eyes brimmed, but he swallowed it down. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll show up," Emily said. "I'll show up." That evening they finished Mount Kindness. Lily painted streaks of red down the sides, humming. Jack helped with duct tape reinforcement, Emily with the food coloring mixture. They carried it carefully to school the next morning. In the crowded classroom, kids bragged about foam models and fancy store-bought kits. Lily clutched her cardboard volcano like treasure. Some parents snickered until the teacher poured in the vinegar. Foam erupted, red liquid spilling dramatically over the sides. The children shrieked with delight. Lily's eyes widened, mouth open in wonder. For once, she wasn't the kid with less. She was the kid everyone crowded around. Jack stood frozen at the back, shoulders trembling. Emily touched his arm. He didn't move for a long beat, then whispered, "She's proud of something I built with her. I haven't seen that look since—" His voice broke. Emily squeezed his hand, anchoring him. After school, Emily walked with them back to the apartment. Jack's phone buzzed with a reminder, "Rent due Monday." His shoulders stiffened. "Jack," she said, stopping him on the stairwell, "don't push me away when things get hard. Let me stand here too. I don't want to just witness your fight. I want to be in it." He turned, eyes sharp. "Why? You barely know me." "Because I know enough," she answered. "I saw you give your daughter the last of your plate. I saw you braid her hair like it mattered more than your pride. I saw you carry me out of traffic without asking for a dime. That's more than I know about men I've dated for years." Jack's mouth opened, closed. For once, words failed him. Emily smiled softly. "Tomorrow you'll walk into that shop like you belong, because you do. And when Lily sees you win, it'll rewrite her idea of what's possible. That's worth everything." He looked at her like she was dangerous, for his walls, for his loneliness, for the careful way he'd hidden himself. "And maybe she was, Emily," he said quietly. "I can't promise I'm not broken in ways you don't see." She stepped closer, voice firm but kind. "Then let's find out together. Because broken doesn't mean worthless. Sometimes it means ready to be rebuilt." Jack's chest rose and fell, a man on the edge of surrender. Not to weakness, but to hope. He let out a slow breath, then nodded once, and right there, in the narrow stairwell of a crumbling apartment with a little girl clutching a volcano project between them, something changed. Not everything, not yet, but enough to make the world feel different.